Good morning, everybody. I am here with Spencer Beaudreault, and today he's going to be teaching us. He's over at the Collaboration Cafe with Karen and John and the rest of the team, and he's going to be teaching us today about something really important. It's out there; everybody knows about it, but very few of us, including me, are any good at it. And Spencer's going to teach us about Google My Business and probably a couple other things. So I'll hand it over to Spencer, and go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for having me. I figured we'd, for our first kind of get together, we'd touch on Google My Business. And the reason being is because I feel like it's one of the most important things as like any entrepreneur or any business, like they start right away. Um, and my company is 813 Leads. I specialize in LinkedIn lead generation, as well as just being a digital marketing consultant. So that's what I do for multiple companies across multiple industries.
Back up just a tad bit for me, Spencer, to where your head gets in there. You're kind of like me. You got a big
Oh,
head.
there we go. Okay.
Yeah, there we
There we
go. Yeah, perfect, man.
go.
Perfect.
Good. All right.
Yes,
Nice.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and just a little background on me. I'm the director of marketing for Orthopedic Medical Group of Tampa Bay. I'm in the cannabis and the CBD space, so I have a business, Hero Brands, in that space. I started 813 Leads, my marketing consulting agency, and I'm just an entrepreneur. I'm kind of like a Swiss Army knife. I do.
Are you a realtor?
I am a realtor as well. Yes, I am part of EXP. So, I was saying, I'm a Swiss Army knife, and I'm kind of touching all different types of industries, just because I'm motivated. I like this type of stuff. I like to constantly be on the grind. So, you know, that's who I am. All right. All right. So this slide. So I kind of just put together, main points and then bullet points that I'll speak on. If you don't have a Google My Business, start one ASAP. Does everybody in here have one? I know Christy has one. Okay, cool. Um, it is it, echoing. It is the number one business listing and like citation space. So it's the number one spot and place and platform to get reviews, just to have your business listed, be on Google Maps. Everybody searches on Google. I mean, if you're thinking in a spectrum, I want to say 80% of people are using Google versus like 20% using Yahoo, Bing, other search platforms. So I really put a lot of heavy importance on Google My Business, and setting up that specific business citation, because from there, that kind of allows you to set up multiple business citations across other platforms like Yelp, Better Business Bureau, stuff like that. Um, Google My Business is great for SEO and online searchability. Like if you don't have a Google My Business, you're not going to get seen on Google, right? I mean, maybe like through your website and stuff like that, maybe your social media profiles, but your main thing is going to be your Google My Business profile. Um, Address, when you're filling out like your Google My Business profile. For realtors, it's a little different, right? I don't know if you want to be putting your home address. I know Christy, we had talked about this. I talked about this with Karen. Um, like if you have a bunch of realtors underneath one roof, I think it's detrimental to all have that single address under each of your profiles, if that makes sense. So you don't necessarily need to have an address on your specific profile. Um, but if you have one, I mean, put it up there because it's going to show up on Google Maps and stuff like that. But like for me and my 813 Leads company, I don't have like a brick and mortar store. So what I do is I just put Tampa, Florida, and I'm kind of like a wide base business, if that makes sense. Like with Karen's, I have her like this address as her address, and I believe John yours as well. But I feel like if too many people put that address, it's almost gonna like hurt each listing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I like when people, like if it's a group like this, everybody kind of separates themselves. So like what I do with the orthopedic group, we have 8 locations, but then we also create business citations and profiles for each of the doctors. So what address are we going to use for each of those doctors, right? In our case, we have 8 locations, so it's a little easier. But if we only had one, like how would we do that, right? So we wouldn't attach like a physical address to that specific profile. Verification process. This changes all the time. It's super important to get verified. Like if your Google My Business isn't verified, then it's not technically active. And the way that that works is like when you fill out your profile, you put in all the information and stuff like that. They're gonna send you a little postcard in the mail with like a little 5-digit code, 6-digit code, or something like that. That is necessary to activate and verify your business profile. If that ends up getting lost, which it's happened to me across a bunch of different businesses, a lot of times they'll have you hop on like a Google Meet type of like a video chat with one of the Google representatives, and you got to show them like the sign, and then you got to show them like, I guess like any type of mail that you would get to the specific address, just to show and prove that this is a real business in a real location. So go ahead.
How do you know if, because I did my Google a long time ago, I
Mhm.
don't even know if I am verified. How do I know?
Yeah, so like you would go in the back. So like Chrissy, like when I took ownership of yours, when you added me, like I click on like the top left, the Google My Business kind of logo, and it brings you to all your listings. And if you only have like one business listing, which it's most likely the case, you'd see that, and then right next to it you would see either verified, unverified, pending edits, like kind of like where your status is with that. And if you need to be verified, you should be able to see that like on your main page. So, and then you would just click verify, you'd go through that whole process. They would either send you that little postcard, or like I said, you'd have to go through that Google, video chat type of a thing.
Is there a way to, like, I had set it up with an email address that I don't use anymore, and
Oof.
it just said that I can't change it.
Yeah. So and that's another thing too. Like,
Is there a way to?
yeah. Well, that's why, like, when I was setting up Mirta's, like, I told her not to use her Avenue Homes email, because God forbid she changed. Yeah, like you change brokerages or you change teams and stuff like that, and you don't use that email anymore. Right. Yeah. Like I used to use my USF email for things. And then I mean, I don't use that email anymore. So like I can't get access to some things.
And I can access this one if I need to. It was by call Adele, but now I'm Madeline. Madeline is my domain.
Yeah.
Name.
You can put multiple emails underneath it, but I would use like a very generic, like I have one email that is like my generic personal email, not my business email. So I use that for, setting up my business listings, and you can attach other emails
I have them under there, so I have both there.
Yeah.
It just makes me log in. I just didn't know if I was going to get emails to that email.
Oh, interesting.
I would make it point to the Madeline and somehow make it, if anything.
Yeah, I'd have to dig into it and look and kind of see like what your setup is like, and I'm more than happy to do that like while we're here, at this meeting for sure. All right. Social proof. Manage your reviews. Manage your reviews. Manage your reviews. If you like I said, again, it's the #1 review platform. Like I know there's other platforms to get reviews. There's Yelp, there's Better Business Bureau, there's Facebook reviews. There's, John even has a bunch on LinkedIn. There's other places to get reviews, but what holds the most weight with reviews is Google. If you look at a business online that has 2 reviews versus a business that has 200 reviews, that business that has 200 reviews is going to 1,000,000% be more visible online, because what it's doing is telling the Google algorithm that they are more important than the 2 review people, right? So that's where, I always talk to John and Karen about social proof. Always ask for reviews. I put share your review link. So like when you go on your Google My Business profile, you'll see like a little kind of share button where it says like share your review form, and you'll get like a short little URL that you can put on your website. You could put on your social media profiles. You can even turn that into like a QR code that people can scan and stuff like that. The 2 biggest ways to get reviews: in person asking, but the one thing with in person asking is be careful. Like let's say we're in this meeting right now, and I ask each of you to give me a Google review. If all of you did it right then and like now, it would all show up under the one IP address. So when Google sees a bunch of reviews being put under one IP address, it looks kind of spammy. So what they do is they don't even allow those. And I don't know if that's kind of what you did, Christy.
No, I sent the link
to a bunch of people.
And I
Yeah.
had people say I did it, it's done, and I can't.
I had John filled one out for me, and it didn't populate. I can't even tell you why. I have no clue why. I know, like, when I was with Mirta, like, she ended up writing me a review, but it was under the same roof that I was in, so I think it didn't populate because of that. But I know, like, with the orthopedic group, like, we used to hand like iPads out to people, like, hey, please leave us a review, and everybody was doing it underneath the same Wi-Fi, the same IP address, and Google erased them all. And that's like 20 reviews right there. Like, that's, 20 reviews is a lot. So we stopped doing that, and then it got me to thinking, like, yeah, you have to ask in person, but be careful with that. The best way to do it is through SMS messaging when you're texting people. So I like to set that up through, and that's where I've gotten the best traction, especially when it comes to orthopedics, is like when you send people out, like that little URL that I was talking about, that you can share your form. People can click on that easily with their cell phone, boom, sign in real quick, and then write it right then and there. Email, it just creates that next like step, in my opinion. And people get weird with emails. Like they'll click on them, they'll like, disregard them. Sometimes they go in spam. So I found, just across all the businesses I work for, SMS messaging is the easiest, quickest way to get reviews. But then again, it's a numbers game, right? So for like every 100 text messages that we send out as a group, probably get like 2 or 3 reviews. So frame that in your mind, like, okay, like if that's the case, like it might be easier for you guys because you have a little bit more personal relationship with the people that you're working with. So those numbers might be, crunched down, might be a lot better. However, I know from the orthopedic side, like that's kind of the ratio that I get. Like I'll send out 100 requests to get a couple.
Spencer, the link you're talking about, is that you would find that in our Google My Business page?
Yeah.
And then share that link to ask for a review?
Yeah. So there's like like when you go on to like edit your page, there's a shorter one, and I can show you guys. I wish I put something up here so I can kind of
It's not that one.
like if you're on your profile and you go to like manage reviews, it should be like a little thing that says get more reviews or share your review form or something like that, and it'll give you a little micro link. It'll be super short.
Yeah, if you're not looking, that's probably why you can't see.
Oh, you're not, you see, right, so I.
You gotta log into your Google account.
That's for an error.
Go
So
ahead.
edit here.
Yeah, and then
All right, maybe we'll do after the.
yeah, and I can help you. I can help you guys with this after. We could all like sit at the round table and have our laptops out. Yeah, so like SMS messaging is the easiest way to kind of get reviews, in my opinion. I'd keep that like a constant. Try to get a good consistency and frequency with asking people via SMS. And you can set that, like if you guys are using KV Core and stuff like that, you guys can set that up through KV Core. I like, since you guys have, you can, because I mean we have like the yeah, no. I do like, because it's not like we're getting thousands of people jumping on our website and buying a product and then we got to like send out a review form. You guys have more of like a one-on-one relationship with people, so I like it coming from you personally. But just build up and don't be afraid to ask a couple times. Like I asked John a couple times, I asked Karen a couple times. Like it's not like I'm not trying to sell you on anything. Like, hey, I really need this review. It's super important for the growth of my business. You did it. I know. I saw that you did do that. Like, and that's who I appreciate that so much, because I know like those reviews are gonna hold a lot of weight, like with the visibility of my my website and my business. And that's when I go into respond to every review. Google likes that. The algorithm, Google favors specific things, right? And these are just best practices. So like anytime I get a review coming in, even if like you asked the person like 10 minutes ago and they just wrote a review, like respond to them like it's like you didn't expect it, right? And That's how I approach all of them. And that,
Sorry, when
no,
you say respond to it, is it through Google?
yeah, it's through Google.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can respond to it just like it was like a a Facebook comment, and you just reply.
Okay.
Yeah, so because like for instance in orthopedics, if we get a bad review, right, we'll always respond and be like, hey, I'm so sorry for your experience. Or if we get a good review, like it's just it's good to respond to all of them, whether it's good or bad, just because like the algorithm favors it.
Can you import reviews from like Zillow and other places?
Not to Google. Not to Google. So yeah, I mean it sucks in some respects, but not to say that those reviews are bad. Like those are still good reviews. And what I would do with those reviews, because like it's still gonna like online visibility, Google's it's one thing, but then there's the internet, right? So like having reviews on Zillow, having reviews on LinkedIn, like those are still good. I would maybe repurpose those into like graphics. That's what I did with John and Karen. I put the social proof, yeah, because it's like, if 100 people are telling me that I'm badass and I'm awesome, like more people are probably gonna feel comfortable with going with me, right? So I like to show that type of stuff all the time. Social proof, like people sell for you, essentially.
Yeah, Spencer, if I can interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Spencer's done a bunch of these things for me, and it kind of feels funny to promote yourself out there. Look
Yeah.
at me, look at what people are saying about me.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about it is one of the recent ones I did, I think I got 200 likes on
Yeah.
Facebook or LinkedIn about it.
Yeah.
A lot.
Man, like, and people love that stuff. Like, yeah, you can, maybe it might feel like you're boasting too much about yourself, but like come with it at like a humble approach, like it's not, I don't think anybody gets too weirded out about it,
So you do all this?
Yeah,
I can pay you to do this for us, so I don't have to do it?
we could talk. Yeah, we could talk about your needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty well versed in all things digital marketing, business development, marketing, sales, all that type of stuff. That's how I made my living, just building my own businesses, and then like working kind of on the side for other companies and stuff like that. So, I feel very comfortable. So yeah, we can definitely chat. And then yeah, so like respond to every review, and then like back to SEO. Like if you're not familiar with SEO, it's search engine optimization. Essentially, it's how do I get shown on the first page of Google for certain search terms, like best Tampa realtor, right? And you're the number one, stuff like that. So like SEO implications, like having a lot, this kind of circles back to what I said in the beginning. If you have a company that has 200 reviews versus a company that has 2 reviews, the company that has 200 reviews is going to get shown more on Google. So it's better for search engine optimization that you have a lot of reviews. The biggest thing is, and I know like when I stepped into the orthopedic group, all of their reviews were bad reviews for the most part because they weren't asking for reviews. Like if you don't ask for reviews, the only people giving reviews are going to be the bad ones, especially in medical, right? The wait time was too long. This was that. So it's only people that want to complain, right? So we had to start asking for reviews. And then another thing was like all their reviews were like 2s and 3s. I brought them all up above 4, approaching like 4.5 for all of our 8 locations. And that took a lot. But when I brought them above 4.0 stars, then we were showing up on Google more often. Whereas if you're below 4.0, you're not going to get seen as much. Because again, like with the algorithm, you don't seem as important. You know what I mean? So like if you have a lot of reviews in numbers, right? Like 200 plus reviews, and then you have above a 4.0 like star rating, that's like super crucial for your visibility online. Yeah, of course.
Is there like a certain number that we should aim for, like every month?
Good question. Great question. What do you think is feasible on your end? I would say like a good mark would be, it just depends on like, I would have a couple questions that would help me get a good answer for you. Like how many people do you work with in a given month, right? Like how many opportunities do you have in 1 month to ask for reviews? If it's 10, then shoot for 2 to 3, right? Like kind of frame it in your mind that way to where you have like a 20-30% kind of win rate, success rate on that. If you get all 10 of those people to write reviews, awesome. The more the merrier. But I know that not every, like even my mom, it took me 6 times around to ask my mom for a review before she actually wrote a review. Like that's just how it is. Like you ask your best friends, it's just how it is.
Spencer, would it be
Yeah,
negative?
yeah, right.
Would it be a negative to ask the same person to write an additional review? Here's
Um,
my thought. We go for a listing appointment, we get the listing, right?
mhm.
We ask that seller to give us a review on the listing presentation, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Now we go under contract. We ask them again, hey, how was the contract experience?
Mhm.
And then closing. So would Google say, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong?
If you write a review, you can't write another one unless it's under a different Google profile. So like the person, like let's say I logged in and like Spencer at gmail.com, I wrote a review for you that first time around. I could not still stay logged in and that specific email and write another review. You're only allowed one review. However,
You can comment on the bottom of the first review.
you maybe,
Say if you have a
yeah, like I believe you can. That's a great question. I believe you can kind of have like almost like a comment thread on it. However, the other approach is they would just have to log in a different email. But if they're underneath the same IP address, Google might not populate it. So there's sometimes where like I've written reviews under my cannabis email and it worked, and then like my personal email and it worked, but then I try to do like a third, it doesn't work. So just be careful with that, and then know in your head that it's not always like going to work, but it has for me. Um, I like talking about this one because everybody's so like gung ho about Instagram and Facebook. So I love talking about LinkedIn and Google My Business. Like that's where I hold the most weight. And I like to post on Google My Business just like you would post on a social media platform. And the reason being is like look at a search page in your head, right? All of it is text, right? All of it is text. But then boom, on the right side, you see your profile and you got a couple pictures. My eyes are going straight to those pictures. Does that make sense from like a psychology standpoint? So I always like to post, and then plus people like to see like physical stuff of your business, whether it be like like the YouTube video, like little things that we put, or like a graphic of your review, or a really nice home, or like you smiling big with your clients, stuff like that. You want to post and then put like specific keywords in those captions of those posts, just like you would Instagram. And there's ways to kind of build that in through like other apps where it can schedule those postings for you. This stuff that I talk with John and Karen about all the time. This is stuff that like I stay constant with across social media. I post the same post on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Google My Business, Twitter, Pinterest, and I think that's it.
What do you
Put across.
Sweet.
So I like to use heropost.io. And that one is it's like 100 and some change, but it's a lifelong subscription. So you don't have to pay like there's some out there like Hootsuite or like what was the other one? There's another one that's like $10 a month. This one is like a one-time payment of $100.
Social.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Yeah, there's a bunch of
What
them.
was that site again, please?
It's heropost.io. And that's the one that I like to use just because that one has Google My Business on it. Like so you can plan out your calendars, and I like doing this like 2 months in advance, right? Because if you think about it, like everybody like does it last second and just tries to do like their social media post that day. If you like build up a backlog, right, and you do it 2 months in advance, think about it. You only got to do that 6 times a year. You plan all like 2 months of content out, boom, right? Set it and forget it. You schedule it and you don't got to worry about it. Yeah, maybe you go on, you check your traction, you go in there and you respond to comments and stuff because you still want to engage, but you don't have to like have that stress of like, oh, what the hell am I going to post? What am I going to say? What am I? And like every day you're thinking that. Like, I don't want to do that. So I've figured out like more optimized way to kind of work, and it's building up that backlog of content and talking points of what you want to talk about, and doing that like 2 months or even 3 months, because you do it like that, and 4 times a year you do it, right? So just depends on like where your thought process is with the whole thing. But yeah, like people see those photos and content on the search page, right? And then when they go to your actual profile, they click on it, they'll also see all that stuff as well. Those photos pop amongst all the text. And then the posting helps with SEO because it shows that you're an active business doing active things. So if Google recognizes that like every week you have a couple posts up there, it's going to help your searchability. But it's not like you do this for 2 weeks and you're going to get results. Like this is a long play that you build into your strategy like constantly. And you got to manage expectations. It's like a 6 months to a year type of journey. Frame it in your head that way so you can stay consistent with it and like actually have the real results. Because SEO is a long, like, how like in investors, right? Like they have their short plays, they have their long plays. It's the same thing with marketing. You have your long play strategies and you have your short play strategies. So posting helps with SEO. And then, as far as like what content you share valuable and attractive content. I always like to go from like, how can I provide you value? Like, what is gonna get somebody to call me or click on my website or, like seek more information from me. So I drop little nuggets, right? Or like, attractive stuff that, people either it's visually attractive or it's mentally stimulating, if that makes sense. So kind of going back to like SEO and keywords, like in your profile, depending on like what, like you want to set it up to be optimized for like what you're trying to get seen as. So like if you are like want to be the number one real estate agent in South Tampa, right? Like put South Tampa real estate agent. Like you got to have those specific keywords that people actually search in like the search bar if you want to show up for those specific things. So think about like what are, whether it be a specific area you're in or whether it be like, like a specific niche service that you offer. Maybe you're the off market specialist or maybe you're the REO specialist, like stuff like that. That you want to build into the context, like your bio, right? Like the about section. So you put certain keywords in there. Maybe you have it in your name and stuff like that. I always like to put them in there so it's natural and it reads right. Because like you don't want to like put in your bio like Tampa real estate agent and it just sounds weird when you read it. Like you still want it to read natural, and like people do that, and I think like the more technology grows, the more that like Google recognizes that type of stuff, right? Like the abnormal like verbiage. It's called like keyword stuffing. Like you put a bunch of keywords in there just to put keywords, like Google's gonna like, hey, I'm catching on to what you're doing. The more descriptive and detailed that their profile is, the better. So fill out everything you can. Like if you're missing it, even if it sounds like it doesn't even apply to you, like handicap accessible, like just fill out everything. And like you're a real estate agent and you don't necessarily have brick and mortar, whatever, just fill out handicap accessible. Just because the more that you fill out, the more robust your profile is, just the better it is as for substance purposes. And then the last little nugget is link your Google My Business to platforms like BrightLocal. BrightLocal.com is where I set up all of my businesses to have business citations. And I pay like on a monthly basis for new business citations to get created. And Google My Business is a business citation. It's a business profile with your logo, your name, your information, like all your business stuff, right? That's a citation. But then Yelp is one, and then Better Business Bureau is one, and then Facebook is one, and then there's all these little real estate sites that you can put a business citation on. So Bright Local, the first time around, you'll pay like $75, and they'll set up you'll link your Google My Business to it, right? So it syncs all the information in, so you don't have to fill it out or anything like that. And then it goes in and sets up all these business profiles for you, so you don't even have to do it. And that's what I do for all businesses, because the more business citations and profiles that you have across the internet, the more you're going to get found, right? It's good for SEO, it's good for searchability. So I always like to do that. And I mean, you don't need to spend a boatload like up front. Like I'll do $75 the first time, gives you 25 citations, and I think it's like $30 the next time around for a new batch of 15. And they'll have like even real estate specific. So you'll pick your industry. Like if I'm in health and wellness, like I'm gonna get like different suggestions, than real estate, right? So they'll have real estate specific ones for you. But I would highly, highly, highly recommend that to help your searchability. So that way, like when people like you just I mean, look, if you guys do this type of stuff and you're getting like 3 to 5 new like leads just from that every month, I mean, that's a win, right? Versus not having it set up and not having those extra 3 to 5. Because what if out of those 5 people that come in, one person ends up being multiple, It's just, it's those little things that I think about that, it's super valuable to have these little tools, in place.
Hey, Spencer, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you have multiple businesses. How do you do that on Google My Business, right? So are
Yeah.
you only have one address on one of them, or so if you had 3 or 4, what would your best strategy be?
Yeah, so you can definitely like under one Google email, you can have multiple business listings because like your Google email will manage those listings. So it's you don't have to have like multiple emails, but I do have multiple emails and like, under one email I manage like 3 businesses or 3 like, business profiles. Under another, I have like all the orthopedic ones that we have. On another, I have a couple personal ones. But like if you had one email, you can manage multiple businesses, and it doesn't necessarily mean that that email is tied to that business. Like you can still within the information of that business put up like your like Spencer at 813 leads. Like I can put that one in there, but it's managed by a Google profile that's not that email. You know what I mean? So that's you can definitely have multiple businesses.
And I was thinking on the terms of a physical address. So, in your opinion, a physical address is not necessary on everyone.
No, it's not necessary. I don't think that it really does like anything negative at all not to have a physical address because like I mean Google knows that like there's realtors out there, there's other businesses out there that are not brick and mortar. Like 813 leads, like I don't have a brick and mortar like location or a physical address. Like I'm an online e-commerce based company. So you don't need to have a physical address, you just need to have like a region. So like you
Great.
could United States. I like to niche down because like there's definitely like US and like international SEO, and then there's like local SEO. So I always like to put the city at least at the very minimum because you'll at least show up in that region, right? And it gives you more accessibility online. Like people are more apt to find you.
Great. Well, thank you for all the stuff that you put on there. You gave us a bunch of info, and if anybody wants to reach out to you, the 813 leads, it's got your email and your phone number right here. Super appreciate your time. I know the folks there live in the Collaboration Cafe have some questions for you. I'm sure you'll be there for a few minutes, but
Mhm.
I'm going to end this broadcast. And again, I just wanted to thank you and just let you know I appreciate your time and your effort. And I'll actually be reaching out to you as well. I want some her so, John and Karen have very high regards for you. At first, when they were talking about you, I was like, "What is this, your son or something?" they love you, man. I mean, I'm like, and
Nice.
yeah. So anyway, I'll be reaching out to you as well. I might have to adopt you as well.
Yeah, just let me know. I'm here to help.
All right, buddy. Have a good day.
Thanks. You too.